Hi Flosstube, my name is Carolyn. Welcome to my channel, Stitching and Stashing. You can also find me on Instagram at Stitching and Stashing. This is my very first Flosstube, and I am so excited to join this community. As of March, I didn't even know Flosstube existed. A friend of mine told me about it, and I checked it out, and I was hooked from the very first video. I think my first one was Two Tall Stitchers, and it was their first video. And I was so excited to see that there were people talking about a craft that I absolutely adore. So I went from their video, I went to many other videos and just binge watched so many floss tubes. So I wanted to send a shout out to some of the ones that I've been watching. This is by far a small list. As you know, there are so many fabulous people, but I wanted to just send a shout out to these today. Not only to Tall Stitchers, but also Jen at Quirksandstitches. She's here on Flosstube and on Instagram at quirksandstitches. She is amazing. She starts all the things. She has hosted 24 hours of cross stitch. The first one she did, I believe she started a new start every hour of the first 20 of those 24 hours, and it was just incredible to watch. She also starts many other projects with her goals, and she's working on a really big, exciting new thing for next year. So if you haven't checked her out, please go check her out. I also have enjoyed watching Georgiagirlstitching. That's Megan, and she is married now. By now, I think she was getting married this month. So congratulations, Megan. But check her videos out as well. And then Shiloh at XMD. She is also another one of my favorites. She has enabled me so much. I've bought several patterns. I've stitched some. I've started stitching some. She tends to stitch really big things, and it's amazing. She does beautiful work. She also does some knitting as well. I'm not a knitter, but she does some knitting and shows off some fabulous projects. I also just found Holly Jones. She's here in Oklahoma, and she just started, I think she has 3 videos up, and her work is really pretty, and she does a great job on her floss tube. So those are the only ones I'll mention right now. I may throw in another one or two as we go along. But thank you to all of you on Flosstube already who have inspired me to not only branch out a little bit in some of the things I was stitching, you've taught me new things and also inspired me to get on Flosstube and try doing one. As I said at the beginning, my name is Carolyn and I live in Oklahoma City. I am married to Kevin, and we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. And he is so supportive of this craft for me. He teases me a lot about, oh, what did you order this time when the mail comes? I just keep telling him it's cheaper than therapy. Of course, some months I think he might disagree with that. I don't know. We also have 2 fabulous boys. One is married and living not too far from us, and the other one is still living at home and it will be a sophomore in high school. They also tease me a lot about cross stitching, but they know that I do love it, and it's something that mom does to stay sane a little bit. We also got a dog in December. I had said I would never have an inside dog. My youngest son is allergic, so we had to go with the hypoallergenic. So we did get a Labradoodle in December. He's adorable. I love him. I don't know why I was not wanting a dog, but he's fantastic. So if you hear any barking or running around, that might be Toby interrupting our floss tube. As far as how long I've been stitching and those things. I started when I was probably 16 or 17. One of my best friends, who's still one of my best friends, taught me how. And I stitched a little bit there at the end of high school. I stitched some during college, and it's kind of been off and on over the years. I really got back into it really strong probably about 14 years ago when we moved back to Oklahoma City. I met some new friends who stitched, and they just helped grow my love for the craft. So I've been doing a lot of stitching over the last 14 years, and I just think I love it more and more every day. So I started off June with a goal, and I'm just going to kind of follow some of the patterns that I've seen. I'm going to talk to you about what I've done. I'm going to talk about my FFOs, my whips, my haul, my plans. Some of those things I didn't even know existed, but so I'm going to start off with some FFOs, finally finished objects, and some of these have been in my finished box for a really long time. I decided though that I was going to just try finishing myself. I have sent things to finishers before. I don't mind doing that, but as you know, it gets expensive if you really stitch a lot. So I saw so many people talking about their finishes and saying that it didn't matter if it was perfect. It didn't matter if it had a little character. So I just decided I was going to do a finishing day not too long ago. I learned how to make pillows, and I didn't know dough bowls were like a really big thing. I have one and have used it to decorate, but now it has cross-stitch pillows in it. So I'm going to just show you the FFOs that I've done in June. I set out for a goal of 10 finishes, and I think that I got there. So these are just some little things that I had in my my box of finishes that I needed to FFO. The first one I'm going to show you is just a little ornament that my son actually stitched when he was probably 4 or 5, and he wanted to learn how to stitch, and so I taught him. He, of course, is now 15 and would never be caught dead stitching, but he did most of the R, and then I had to go back in and kind of finish it up for him because he lost interest. And I just put a little ribbon hanger on the back of it, and then I took a button, and this is probably cheating, I don't know, but I put thread through the button like I had stitched it on, and then I hot glued that puppy on. So because I don't finish very well, nobody's going to hire me to do this job, but I just wanted a quick little pillow finish on that. My sister-in-law gave me this one to finish for her, and I'm not sure if my niece did this or if my sister-in-law did. Just a cute little cat, I guess. And I just put some little fun polka dot material on the back. I did the little ribbon finish with the buttons again, hot glued on. Another finish that I did very similarly is this little Santa. Now I never kept up with like what kind of material or what threads I used. I'm starting to try to get better so I can pass that information along. This looks like it was probably on a 14 count fiddler's cloth or Aida of some sort. But just a cute little Santa ornament. And again, I just finished him off with some cording for a hanger and the glued on buttons on the back. Recently, I've started doing just plain pillow finishes as well. This one is from Lizzie Kate, and it's called A Little Snow. And this is my finish on it. It's supposed to have a charm. Let me get my fingers going in the right direction here. It's supposed to have a little charm there, but I have no idea where that charm might be or if I ever even had it. And then I just did a plain little green fabric on the back there. Still has fuzzies on it. And then another little pillow finish that's in my patriotic dough bowl right now is also by Lizzie Kate. It is Little Liberty. Sorry, I was looking for it. A Little Liberty by Lizzie Kate. And this is that pattern done. And I just love the colors on this one. And I just had some blue and white stars that I put on the back of that one. Then I have some flat ornament finishes. I have no idea where this came from. I believe it was in a magazine, but it's Hope. And it's stitched on kind of a cream, probably a 32 count Lugana. That seems to be my go-to. And I just finished it with some red and gold material on the back. Again, you can see my hot glue job is not perfect. A little rickrack on the edges, and I also use the rickrack on the hanger as well. Then I have a couple of prairie schoolers, and I could not find my pattern book on this, but just little flat finish ornaments. I have a little stocking here. Again, I believe that's on a cream, probably 32 count mystery linen. And then I used some beaded trim to put along the edges to kind of go with that gold look on the back. And I actually used the gold trim for the hanger as well on that one. And then another prairie schooler is this little Santa coming out of the chimney. And I used the beaded trim, but then I put a ribbon hanger on him just for something different. But he also has that red and gold material. I just tried to use some things that I had in my stash to kind of finish these up. I'm not opposed to buying new things, but also because I am called Stitching and Stashing. But I did try to use some things I had. This is by Bent Creek, and it's called Buzz. And again, a little piece of mystery linen. I think that the little purple flowers, they're all in the same color. It was one of the called for colors. It called for mulberry as well, and I didn't have any, so I just changed them all to purple because purple's my favorite color. And I finish it off with some purple flowers with butterfly backing on that. And so just a cute little pillow. And then I believe my last finish is here. I made a box. This is called Bloom. And again, I could not find my pattern. I don't know if I passed this on to somebody or if it was in a magazine. And so now I don't know which magazine. But I just love it. I love the pinks in those flowers. And I just made it into a box. I cheated this time. I usually sew my boxes together, but I only sewed one part here, and then I hot glued the back and the front on, and then I also hot glued just some beige trim, so almost looks like little flowers on that. I don't know if you can see that, but just kind of a fun flowery box. I love flowers. You'll probably see that in some of the things that I show you today and in later if I continue to do this. So the next thing that I'm going to do is show you some of my whips, my works in progress. I didn't know this term existed either, but I was probably a monogamous stitcher for most of my life. I find one pattern and I do that until it is finished. But since Flosstube happened, I have branched out and now have several whips. And I'm kind of glad I do. It's kind of nice to say, oh, today I feel patriotic, so I'm going to work on a patriotic piece. Or today I feel like the monochromatic vibe, and so I want to stitch on that. So it's kind of nice to have more than one. So I'm going to show you some of those that I have going right now. Some of these were part of my mania. Most of you know about Stitch Mania in May. It has come to be different things to different people. I could not even fathom starting 31 projects in May. I am a middle school teacher, So we were still in school. And even if I had planned well early enough, I don't know that I would have had the energy to start 31 projects in May. As most of you know, this last school year was hard. It was hard for students, it was hard for parents, it was hard for teachers and administrators. It was just hard. So by May, I was done. So instead of trying to do 31 projects, I decided to start one each weekend. And that's what I did. Buzz was actually one of my manias. It stitched up really fast because it was like this big. So I got it done I believe the first weekend. Now the rest of these I'm not sure which weekend I stitched, and then others I didn't start in May, but I'm going to go ahead and get busy showing you what I have. My first one is by Brenda Gervais, and it's called Indigo Lane. And when I saw this, I fell in love with it. It has the Quaker images on it, and it has a cute little house with a fence. And so I wanted to stitch that. And so I have a little bit of a start. It's not huge on this one. I believe I only got to stitch on it one day in May, and I have not gotten back to it. So I have part of the house started, and every time I look through my whips, I'm like, oh, I really want to get back to that. So that's Indigo Lane by Brenda Gervais. And then I have one that I could use some suggestions on this one, actually, if you have any. I have by Plum Street Samplers, Kringle and Woolard. Isn't that adorable? Santa Claus with that little sheep and then the little trees around. I just love that. And I don't remember what material I'm actually stitching this on. It is a 36 count, which it calls for, but it's not the Stars Hollow blend. But it was something that was comparable whenever I was picking it out from the store. And this is what I have gotten done on him. But my question is that beard and that cuff of his sleeve, to me, it just doesn't show up very well. And so I didn't know whether I should start it over or if I should go ahead and continue stitching, and maybe when I get other things around it, it might pop out a little bit more. So if you have a suggestion on that, please drop it in the comments below. I kind of stopped on this. I love it, but I stopped on it because I was not really knowing how to proceed with that one. Another one I'm doing was, I've had it in my stash forever, and it's by Waxing Moon Designs, and it's Summer Sampler. And you know as well as I do that bees and sunflowers seem to be all over the place, and those have really caught my eye lately. I've always loved sunflowers, but bees, I don't know, they've just suddenly become really cute to me. So I started this one, and I've stitched on it a couple of times. I still don't have a lot done, but this is what my progress is on it. I have most of the house completed, and then I have part of the alphabet done. But it's a cute little piece to do, and I can't wait to finish that one as well. So many projects and so little time. Then I also have started my first sampler. I don't know a lot about sampler stitching. I'm learning more and more, especially as I watch Flosstube. But I wanted to try to do a sampler, and so I bought this off of, I believe, Stash Unload on Facebook, and it's called the Marie Waterer Sampler. Let's see if I can get it up there really close. Now, my problem with this is very similar to the Kringle and Woolard. These images, right, let me get my finger on there and then try to show you. Right there, and then this tree right here. The color doesn't pop. And maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe that's part of the beauty of a sampler, is they're more muted. But I'm going to show you what I have. I haven't started that big tree yet because I realized it was going to be in the same color as these little diamond shapes right there. So this is what I have on it so far. The tree goes down below, right here. Again, I don't know, is that typical where there's just going to be a lot of muted colors? And should I go ahead and continue stitching that with those colors? I'm not real comfortable changing things out yet. As far as threads, I do switch linens, but a lot of times I have somebody helping me with that as well whenever I'm at the store. So tell me what you think, and I'd be glad for your input. Another beautiful thing that I found the last time I was at my local needle shop, which actually is not real local. I have to drive about an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually shop in a brick and mortar. So I don't get to do it real often. When I do, it's a big deal. It's lots of fun. It's a little road trip, usually with a friend. But when I was there at the Silver Needle a few weeks, probably about 2 months ago, I saw this pattern, Land That I Love. And that's by Teresa Kogut, and I fell in love with it. I love patriotic stuff anyway, but this one I just thought that is the most beautiful thing. And so I bought the pattern, I bought some material. It's not what the called for is, and I don't remember what I actually ended up getting. If I come up with that, I'll try to link that below in the description. But I have a little bit of a start on it. It's not a lot. But there's what I have so far, and I'm loving it. And can't wait to get back to that one. This is probably one of the biggest ones that I have going. I'll show you another one in a minute. I know Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She's another fabulous floss tuber. She does lots of beautiful stitching and quilting as well. She's gotten a lot further along on this. And then I believe Ginger Hull on Instagram, I think I saw that she was working on this too, and they are so much further along than I am, so it makes me really want to get that back out and stitch. Then, most of you have probably seen this as well, Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt. This is actually a June stitch along through Fat Quarter Shop, and this is my progress. I am about 2/3 of the way finished, maybe a little bit more, depending if you count the number of flowers. I was stitching down here this morning, trying to get this one finished. I have this part left to do. I have to do the it's really hard to do this backwards, a lot harder than I thought. So I have to do this column of flowers. And I love the colors in this. They are so pretty, and it is such a fun stitch. And you do feel like you get a little mini finish each time you finish a little block or finish a little flower. And so I've really loved working on this and can't wait to get that finished and framed and up on my wall. Then my last whip that I'm going to show you today is another one you've probably heard of, and it is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's their Fruit of Plenty Stitch Along. Sorry if there's a glare. This came out in January, started coming out in January, and they release one piece of that each month. Jacob does from Modern Folk Embroidery, and I didn't know about it until probably late March or April, early April. I believe Shiloh at xstitchmd was the first person that I saw stitching that. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful, and I think I want to try that. So I ordered it, but I kind of wanted to do a different colorway. So then I started looking at all of the hashtags to see if I found a colorway already put together because, like I said, I'm not great at putting the right colors together. But somebody on Instagram had the perfect one. And her name on Instagram is at Woolly Woolly Sheep Sheep. I love that name, at Woolly Woolly Sheep Sheep, and I will link her below as well. She had the perfect colors, and so I contacted her and asked her what her colors were. I have already said I love purple, and so this is my modern folk embroidery as of today. I am working on that center motif, filling it in. It is not complete full coverage on that, but there is going to be a tree show up in all of the light purple. The tree will actually be mainly the white showing through. So there is a lot of coverage in that motif there. I'm on May, which I don't think is too bad. I actually started this April 21st. So I am a little over 2 months in, and I have done 4 months completely, and then I'm on that 5th month. With school out for the summer, I might be caught up by the end of July with July. Just don't know yet. Depends on how many other whips I really want to work on. But after that, when school starts back, I don't have as much time to stitch, especially at the beginning of the school year. So I don't know if I'll be able to keep up or not. But I'm using colors, just DMC 550 and 553. And again, that was kind of stolen from at Woolly Woolly Sheep Sheep. So thank you for letting me steal your colors there. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is some haul. These may not have been exactly this week, but it's been what I've been collecting over the last maybe 2.5 weeks while I was trying to gear up the courage to do a floss tube. So I just went ahead and pulled all of it. The first thing I have is a Biscornu pattern. Some friends of mine and I stitch once a week, usually on Thursdays, those of us who can make it. And we decided to do a stitch along with the Biscornu. And they went on 1-2-3 Stitch and bought these cute little things. And I cannot remember who puts them out, but they were like little octopi and pandas and koalas, and they were just really cute. And so everybody else, I believe, has the same way to finish theirs and the instructions and all this, but not me. No, I had to go off on my own. I purchased this one. It's called Tulip Otidama, I believe, and it's by Thistles. And I may have a little trouble. First of all, tulips are my favorite flower, and so that's why I wanted to get this one. But my instructions are nothing like their instructions. So the stitching, I know, won't be hard as long as I follow where they say to stitch it on the material, but putting it together may be a whole new story. I don't know. Another pattern that I've gotten recently, and I got this one off of Stash Unload, is by Silver Creek Samplers, and they don't have a name on it, but it says no winter lasts forever, no spring skips its turn. And I saw someone on Flosstube had done this, and it was just beautiful, and I love the saying. I think it really is very hopeful, and I love hope. So I got that, and it actually came with this 28 count sterling by Picture This Plus, just very pretty bluish green. So I will be doing that hopefully before too long. Another one I bought, and I think I got this from 1-2-3 Stitch, is by Manny Dodonna, and it's called Happy Fall Pillow. And the colors of those pumpkins drew me in. And I thought that would be a perfect little pillow finish for my pillow bowl. So I will be looking forward to stitching that. I'm sure fall stitching will come out pretty soon here. And then I bought this from Stash Unload as well. told you about the bees that have been so cute. And this is called Spelling Bees, and they have 3 little charms on them. Not charms, little buttons on them. And I don't know. I know that it's supposed to be spelling bees, cute, you know, kind of thing. But I might actually just stitch from here down and not stitch the words spelling bees. But we'll see. Thought that was really cute. I also have a love of sunflowers, and I will show you some things that I finished, like previous finishes on future videos. But I just bought this one. It's by Flea, I believe. And it is a full coverage piece. And I've never done a full coverage piece. But this one's small. It's only like 5.9 by 5.5. So it's not real big, but it is full coverage. But I just love that sunflower. So that'll be something I'll have to talk myself into starting. Then I bought, again from Stash Unload, there is a lady on there that dyes fabric and posts it. And so I bought this Lugana, and it's a 32 count Lugana, and 32 count's my favorite. And it's a kind of a gray blue. Let's see which is the best. No, that washes it out. So I'll come back here. That's a little bit better. Just kind of a gray blue and real pretty. I have no idea what I'm going to do on that yet, but I thought it was really pretty. And then I also learned about Color and Cotton, and I'm sure most of you have heard of Color and Cotton, and I decided to join their Fabric of the Month club. And so one of the ones I got in May, or the one I got in May, is Kiwi, and it's a Lugana 32 count, kind of a bright green. It's very, very pretty. I have no idea what I'll do on that one either. Like a lot of people have said, doing a Fabric of the Month club sometimes gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit, because I'm pretty basic on my fabric. I'm usually white and cream and, you know, beige and summer khaki. So it'll be fun to kind of stitch on some different colors. And I say that, and then the next one I got was Old West. Again, a 32 count Lugana, and it's just a nice neutral beigey color, and just really pretty. It's got a little bit of modeling, but not real bad. I don't want to say bad, but not real obvious, just really subtle modeling on that. And then I was able to do one of their little grab bags of threads, and I've done Fancy Floss. I do DMC, but I also do Fancy Floss. So I've done the Classic Colorworks, Samplers, or Gentle Arts, and Weeks Dye Works. I've done all of those, but I didn't know that there were others available. I knew that there were silks. I just didn't know that there were other cotton ones. So I got Kumquat. Let's see. Maybe back here is I don't know. It's a little bit more orangey than what it's showing up on there. But it's really a pretty color. But that was Kumquat. This is Radish. This is Jade. I'll try to bring something next time to put behind these. This is Limoncello. It looks white, but it does definitely have a yellow tint to it. And then this is Rose Gold. And it's a little darker than what it's showing up there. So that is my haul for the last few weeks. I'm sure my husband hopes that that's my haul for a while, but you know, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. Oh, one other thing I got, and I just got this in the mail yesterday. I had seen these on a Flosstube just recently, like last week, and thought I'm gonna buy some. It's these little stretchy magnet things, and they say to, like, if you have excess floss to, not floss, excess material to around your Q-snap, you can like rein it in with this. it's not working for me. So I don't know if I bought some that are too small or if I bought an inferior brand. I don't know. But if somebody has some tips for how to use these more efficiently, I would be open to that. So plans. What are my plans for the next few weeks? I would like to finish the flea market flowers sal because it's ending here in just a few days. This is already the 27th. And I still have, I think, 5 boxes down that side. So even doing one a day, I won't quite get there. So I need to finish that. I want to try to get as caught up as I can on the modern folk embroidery. And then after that, I just want to put some stitches in my whips. I haven't gotten those other whips out as much as I want to. I kind of have been doing those other 2 as my focus pieces, and then a couple of days I spent finishing, and so I haven't really gotten back to my whips. So I'd like to put in at least a day or so on each of my whips if I could, since I don't have an overabundance of those. But so that's kind of my plan. I plan to do a Flosstube maybe every couple of weeks, depending on how much I have to show. If there's really no news, I don't want to waste anybody's time. But I don't want to wait too long either, because I know that can get a little too long for some. But I believe that is all I have for today, and I want to thank you for sticking with me through my first Flosstube. I would love it if you enjoyed being here today, if you would subscribe and like my video, and please let me know where you're from. I would love to know who's watching. So if you could just kind of tell me what part of the world or what part of the United States you're from, I would love to read your comments. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon stitching and stashing. Goodbye.